Hello, this is my exhibition and BSL information tour. Yes, it's in BSL. It's my solo exhibition. My name is Rubbena Aurangzeb-Tariq. I live in London, England, and this is my solo exhibition, which is titled Matchlight. Matchlight looks at the process of how mental health can be healed through art. Come with me. Closer? Perfect. I chose the title Matchlight because there are a lot of cultural identities which are not recognised. I realise that I am a woman, I'm Asian, Muslim, deaf. There are many working parts that make up who I am. These parts of me can be misunderstood, not recognised, or misconstrued. The matchlight illuminates all of my identities, allowing them to be recognised as the many parts of who I am now. These 6 drawings are all 6 feet in height. As I get closer, you can see just how big they are. These drawings were done during the lockdown. During the outrage over the killing of George Floyd, a black man, there was fierce debate and heightened emotions within the deaf community around the many signs for black and where they came from. At that time, I created an artwork that relates to both Black Lives Matter and signs, here. It shows the many of the protests that the deaf community have held in Britain to voice their concerns. The signs are represented here. This picture is a crossword. You can read it diagonally, across, top to bottom, whichever way. It has a different meaning. It talks about the difficulties in education faced by deaf children during the lockdown and how their families who cannot sign struggle to provide access to learning. Many schools gave deaf children laptops and iPads for home learning, but many families gave these pieces of equipment that should be for the deaf children to their hearing children. This is deeply unfair. Deaf children have a right to learn and access education. It's interesting to look at meaning within the crossword. Here in America, in New York, they have their own language, which leads to a different interpretation of the images of signs. One of the images in the centre contains the sign error. But that sign here in America means colour, so the way American viewers translate the content will be different, which is really interesting. This one is a self-portrait. I used the camera to capture the image so I could draw myself. That's me. Does it look the same? Let's move on. A print of this picture, The Network, is hanging in the waiting room of the mental health clinic in York. When families arrive, the parents may not understand it, but the children can see the signs. The families can use it to play a game, Scrabble. There are words in there like support and letters and numbers in the squares. They have to guess the word support, and the S value is 1, so they win 1 point. This is another self-portrait that shows my anger with interpreters and translation and the words that are chosen. When I am expressing my emotions and interpreters choose words that don't match what I mean, or they look calm but I am full of feeling, that's not what I'm trying to say. It's infuriating. They should know the right words. There are lots of words behind the figure which express my emotions, my growing anger, with the wrong ones crossed out. It makes me feel invisible and unseen. The next picture focuses on the BSL Act, which you may remember finally became law in 2022. At that time, we were talking about why the Act was important, who it was for, what it was. This is again represented by a crossword, and you can decide which is the most important image. There are secret meanings in the picture. For example, around the same time, Rose won Strictly Come Dancing. The hand shape of her sign name is in there, but it really represents request or ask. Or it could be about Rose and her campaigning for the Act. Who knows? There are many meanings within a piece of art. Let's go and look at some more. This way? Stop. There are 2 paintings here, but first we're going to talk about this series of 5 pieces titled Don't You Dare. These pieces come from my family and childhood experience of being curious, wanting to try and explore new things and being told, don't you dare, no. I didn't know why. As I got older, I was still told, don't you dare. When I wanted to do things like walking in London, my family told me I must stay home and only walk to and from college. I wanted to drive places, don't you dare. I felt very angry with my family. This cycle of pictures came from the lack of clarity within my family, what that meant for me fitting in, and how and where my identity fit into the family. This series of pictures shows my emotions around my family dynamics. These are both self-portraits. Part of a commission which gave me time so I could reflect on who I, Rubbena, am. Because I painted some portraits back in 2013, around the time I wanted to go travelling in India, and I had some problems getting a visa. I was born in England, so I didn't understand why there was an issue with my visa. It took 6 months to get it sorted. Then I flew to India and people there said to me, "Are you sure you're not Indian?" It was because of my hair and my skin colour. People assumed I was Indian, and I'm not. When I returned to England, I painted a portrait about how people perceived my identity differently and who I actually was. I returned to the same subject in 2022 and realised that people still don't recognise my identity or recognise me as an artist. They don't see who I am. They see me as a woman and a mother with responsibilities in those roles. But I'm a working woman, I have a career, I do many things, but it's hard for some people to believe I do all those things. This artwork is a portrait of me painting. And another figure, also me, is looking at myself, sneering at the idea I'm an artist. The me that is painting is clearly stating that I am working. The art is my work. It's the different perspectives within me, and it means I'm not what you see. This is a portrait based on my sign name, Rubbena. I drew it in a frame, but didn't have enough space. I added another Rubbena painting and another Rubbena supporting with the artwork, Rubbena being Rubbena, the artist supporting artist. She's in profile and they're all working together. When I stepped back and looked at the work, it looked like the Mona Lisa, that kind of sitting portrait in the same pose. So I called the painting Mona Rubbena. Little joke there. Let's look over here. Remember the self-portraits over there? They had less colour, and sometimes you need more colour. I didn't want to spoil the portraits. But with these pieces, I could be freer. I came out of the structure of the portrait project, and I could be more free and loose with these pieces, and then go back to the portraits. These pieces allowed me to enjoy colour. I love colour, and this gave me a chance to experiment and use oil paints. This is a chair, mute chair, a quiet, calm place. The background is glass beads and lines. My brain is busy and won't stop buzzing and thinking. but I sit in the chair in my studio and I'm calm. This one was painted at a time when my hearing aids kept breaking and cochlear implants was discussed. I was very concerned about the sound being different and how I would manage with the implant. I was anxious about the operation. Should I have the assessment or not? And what would I do if I passed it? In my heart, I really wanted hearing aids. I need hearing aids to help with my tinnitus. The hearing aids also help with my balance. I'm not used to being without them and I struggle. I was born deaf and I've always had them. Why do I feel like this? Why? BSL, speech therapy, cochlear implants, so much going round in my head and a darkness expanding inside me. But I went through all this and I won. I got my new hearing aids. I did it. Let's move on. That way? Back a bit. That's it. Not too much. This work is all part of the Translating the Deaf Self project from 2018. Back in 2016, researchers from Heriot-Watt University, Jemina and Rob, who are both linguists, found that there was no linguistic research into the deaf community's feelings about working with interpreters. They undertook some new research from 2017 to 2018, and they asked Manchester University to take part in the discussion. They also asked artists to be based in different regions: Scotland, Manchester, Essex and London. Different artists working in these areas to collect information from the community and create art. This was my work. It consists of 25 canvases, lots of pieces because they form a puzzle. This is because the deaf community shared many different stories. Most of them came from ethnic minority backgrounds. Some had been refugees or migrants. Many couldn't read or struggled with reading, which was stressful for them. They often felt overwhelmed by written information. All these lines of text are shown with the faces and bodies of these people who were swamped by this written language. The canvases also show their emotions and their stories are hidden in the background. Come and see. Here, you can see the overwhelmed figure and the descriptive words. The same things on this canvas. Another person, they said they felt interpreters did not mirror their language. That's an example. Another example here about lip reading. Someone described trying to lip read language and stories and watch someone pointing, but how they missed about 80% of the information. The 20% they captured is here and here and here. Many of them described getting a very limited amount of language. Here in America, we've sorted the canvases into colours, but when they were displayed in England, they were all mixed up. Here, they felt neurodiverse people might find the mixed colours visually discordant, and hanging them in colour groups had more flow. Interesting. Perhaps that allows for a new translation. In here, there are 3 films showing. Do you remember the 6 drawings you saw over there? They relate to this film, Lightwave, which was made in 2020. It's a discussion between members of the deaf community because during the lockdown everyone was at home and I couldn't make art, so I invited them to join and share their opinions. The themes from the discussions in the film influenced me to make the artwork, and I made the discussions into a film. There are 2 more films showing on the side walls. They are of my time in my art studio making self-portraits. They capture the creative journey, what I was feeling while stuck inside and what the challenges were. That's all in these 2 films. There are 3 of them altogether, but 2 are shown here. People can sit in here and take them in. Come on. Do you remember the new hearing aid story? Suddenly I could hear music as it played, the rhythms and the different notes. To experience that was so exciting, being able to take that in. The title of this work is Which Music? Because I can't remember exactly which piece of music I was listening to. I'm deaf, I don't know. I remember a long time ago, when I was teaching art, I decided to try and draw and paint some fruit and vegetables. Then I tipped over the canvas and created layers. I wanted to experiment with what they would look like painted in oils, what the contrast would be. It has a beautiful texture. I really wanted to play with this one. It's beautiful. It looks like a heart. The fruit has disappeared. This one is tripody. You can see the 3 legs. I made it because I like dancing, but I'm not sure if I'm good at it or not. It has texture. It's thick. It has glass beads in the paint to thicken it and reflect how dancing can be painful or stiff. Come in closer so you can see. Beautiful colours, right? We're going over there now. It's a big gallery. It's the Dyer Art Gallery in Rochester, New York. It's the only deaf art gallery in America. Gallaudet University has a small one, but this is huge. It's possibly the only deaf art gallery in the world. Wow. Let's move on. Oh, careful. Walk slowly. Lovely. Feels nice. It's big, right? Let's go to there. Take a look in here. Do you remember that in the London hospital there was a new ward, the Bluebell ward? I was commissioned by Hospital Rooms, which is a charity that supports and encourages art to be displayed in mental health hospitals to improve patients' well-being and promote recovery. They asked me if I could come up with some ideas for artwork for a deaf ward. I said, absolutely, why not? I talked with the mental health patients and encouraged them to share their stories about their homes in places like Jamaica, Ireland, and lots of other countries. They shared how they miss the food, their families, the smells, and the colours of home, and I thought about how to represent all of that. I decided to use the Olympic map. The squares have rings and the Olympic colours and countries inside them. I asked the patients what the key things they wanted from being here were, what their hopes were. They wanted recovery, inclusion, and to have their deaf identities recognised. So all of that is in the artwork. It's bigger than in London, but I've recreated it here. It's been a big challenge painting it here live, but I did it. It's displayed in a lounge area in the hospital, so here we have a lounge too. You can see it if we move. There's a TV too. So there's the lounge area. The TV shows different English programmes. There's the BBC News with subtitles, the BBC News with an in-vision interpreter. There are deaf in-vision signers, deaf debates, deaf conversations about mental health with different perspectives about what's being done in England. People can sit and watch because in America there are no deaf mental health services at all. Nothing across the whole of America. So it's important to show how good mental health and recovery can be supported if the environment is right for deaf people and they have access to language. It's really important. Let's go and see the bedroom. You could sit and have a coffee here. Before you enter the bedroom, there's a chair placed here so a member of staff can sit and watch both the lounge and the bedroom at the same time. That's how it's arranged in the UK. This floral artwork is here because in the UK the flowers are on the glass of the bedroom. So that design is replicated here on the wall. We have an extra design. Come this way. There's artwork on the glass like in the UK, but this is a bit different. Help. For us, this sign means support. In America, it means help. So it's similar. Next is the bedroom, where there are curtains and a bed like in the UK. Let's look. Here's the bed where you can relax. Come closer. There's one more piece of art on the glass. This way. Mindfulness or engage. It can have different meanings. Can you see the orange woman out there? That's somebody else's artwork, not mine. Another deaf person created that. But we decided to include her and have her looking into the hospital bedroom, thinking. It feels like she's part of the setting. Let's go back. This bed. Did you know that in American hospitals they ask for your height and weight? And then they make a bed and deliver it for you. Different in the UK, one size fits all. They have all different beds here. Can you believe it? This is the whole tour of the installation around here. Come with me. That's the end of the tour. I hope you enjoyed it. The exhibition is here until the 17th of May 2024. I hope you can come and visit Rochester and have a look around. You have the information. Bye.